Hello, my name is Dr. Dan Wedding, and this is DrWedding, VB16, Pictures, Sounds, and Embedded Resources. In my previous videos, I outlined how a project was put together. A newly opened project has a blank form in it. Then I covered adding objects, changing the properties of the objects, and adding the code to the objects on the form. This led to multiple forms, multiple code segments, and passing values between the forms. Now, you will need to learn how to embed items such as pictures, sounds, and files. These embedded items are called resources. Embedding an item is like packing a toothbrush in your suitcase when you go on a trip. When you get to your destination, you'll have your toothbrush. If you don't pack it, you won't have it. Embedding an item is easy. In the Solution Explorer window, double-click on My Project. On the sidebar, click on Resources. On the first menu item that appears, select the item which you are embedding, strings, images, icons, etc., and drag and drop your items into the project. Here's a demonstration. First, go to the Solution Explorer window and select My Project. Next, select Resources and select what you want to embed. In this case, I'm going to embed some images. All I need to do now is drag and drop the objects into the project. As you embed the images, you'll see a resource file. The resource file will contain the resources that you're embedding. A picture box holds an image on the form. You can have the picture box display the image in a few different ways. Normal, stretch image, auto size, center image, and zoom. These properties are in the size mode property or behind the small arrow on the picture box. I prefer zoom. It displays the image inside the box without altering the image. The command to put the embedded image named MyPicName on a picture box named MyPicBox1 is shown below. The sound player plays WAV files and not MP3 files. The sound command needs two values: the name of the sound file and the audio play mode property. If you embed the sound in the program, the WAV file, some random WAV file, becomes my.resources.someRandomWaveFile, as shown below. There are three audio play mode properties. They are also shown below: wait to complete, background, and background loop. The command to play a WAV file is shown below. You can see it uses dot notation to access my.computer and not an object on the form. There is a command to stop playing the WAV file that is very similar to the command to play the WAV file. It is shown below. In this program, I will be using images and sounds. All of these resources are not copyrighted and are public domain. The images were made by me in a drawing package and are not copyrighted. The sounds are royalty-free and were downloaded from Pixabay.com. Below are the links to the sounds that were used. As always, an example will be used to demonstrate these concepts. I have already opened up a new project. I'm going to start by embedding the objects I'm going to use in this program. I start by clicking My Project, going over to Resources, selecting Images, and dragging and dropping the images I'm going to use. Now that I've dragged and dropped the images into the project, a resource file has appeared with the objects in them. Next, I'm going to bring in some audio files. Now that these objects are embedded, I can use them throughout my program. Save these embedded resources, and we can start working with the program. First, I'm going to have some music play when the form loads. Having a sound file play is very easy. You give the command my.computer.audio play, and this method needs two pieces of information. First, the sound it's going to play, and because it's embedded, it's found at my.resources. And we're going to choose ambient logo. Next, we have to give it the play mode. The command is audio play mode, and we can choose background, wait to complete, background loop. We'll start with background. Now, when the form loads, this sound will be played. Because this sound was played in the background, I could still have control over the program. I could move the window around, and if there were buttons, I could press them. However, if I chose wait to complete, then the program would freeze and not allow me to do anything until the audio file has completed. You can see that the form didn't load until after the sound finished playing. There are different uses for these different audio play modes. For example, you may just want some music playing in the background while someone is doing a task. On the other hand, you may want some instructions to be read and have the program not able to be accessed until the user hears all of the instructions. Let's go back to the form. Now I'm going to add two buttons. The first button is going to turn on a very long song. The second one is going to turn off the long song. This allows you to put background music in. It also gives the person using the program the option of turning the music off. Let's click on the Turn on the Music button. When this button is pressed, we're going to execute my.computer.audio.play, open parentheses. The song is going to be my.resources. Dancing. And the audio play mode will be background looping. The other button that will turn it off will be my.computer.audio.stop. Now let's run this program and see what happens. So the music's playing. I can turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. That's pretty much all there is to WAV files. Let's take a look at the images next. First, I'm going to add two picture boxes. Now that I have the two picture boxes on the form, let's investigate the size mode. First, I'm going to add an image. I'm going to go to the Properties window, I'm going to select Image, and I'm going to select one of the resource images. For example, the 3. I can either change the size mode in the Properties window, or I can go to this little arrow at the top of the picture box and change it from there. Normal will show the picture as is. And if the picture box is not big enough to hold the image, the picture will be cut off. If I choose Stretch Image, it's going to stretch the image, but it's going to change the aspect ratio. Next, if I choose Auto Size, it's going to match the picture box to the size of the image. This is nice if all your images are the same size. If they're different sizes, this can be a problem. Center Image works just like normal, but the focus is going to be on the center of the image instead of the top left. Lastly, the one that I use most often is Zoom. Zoom will keep the aspect ratio, not cut any of the image off, and fill the picture box with the image. I'm going to erase this image for now. And add a button. When I press this button, it will generate two random numbers between 1 and 6. The first random number will choose one of the images and put it on the first picture box. The second random number will choose one of the 6 images and put it on the second picture box. If I'm going to be using a random number, I first have to add randomized to form load. Inside the button, I'm going to generate two local variables, num1 and num2. Then I'm going to generate a random number between 1 and 6. I now need to convert this integer into an image. I'm going to do this using an if block. Ifs are universal translators. You can convert anything into anything else using an if block. You can change a number into a color. If something is 5, make it red. You can change a color into a number. If it's red, then it's number 5. You can change a word into a number. If the person types in the word 5, you can change it into the number 5. If statements can allow you to translate anything into anything else. So in this case, I'm going to convert this number into an image. Now all I need to do is repeat this process a second time. This will give me the image that will go on picture box 2. Let's run this program and see what happens. As you can see, I'm generating the images of a pair of dice being rolled. This method works. However, there is a more optimal way of writing this exact same code, and that's using an array. I'm going to load the resource images into an image array. That way, I can use the random number as the index to the array and eliminate the two if blocks. I needed to generate a global image array. I chose 5, so it would be indexed 0 through 5. However, some people might find this more intuitive if they had 7 elements in the array numbered 0 through 6. They would ignore element 0 and make the dice face 1 equal to element 1, dice face 2 equal to element 2, and so on. I'll leave that up to personal preference. In the subroutine form load, I stuck the resources into the array elements one at a time. Now I can go down to the button click subroutine and get rid of the two if blocks. I made two quick changes. First, I removed the +1 in the equation. This makes the random numbers 0 through 5 to match the indexes on the array. Next, I took the random number and used it as the array index. This eliminates the need for the if block. Let's run this program and see what happens. Works just fine. Finally, I'm going to make two minor changes to this code. First, I'm going to make the dice roll over and over again as if they're tumbling. The code that I'm using could easily be adapted into a slot machine. Then, after the dice are rolled, I'll look at their faces, and if they match, I'll play a tune. This code could also be used in a slot machine. Just by comparing which values match will determine the payout. I put the code inside of a for loop that runs 5 times. At the bottom of the for loop, I added 2 lines. The first line, My.Application.DoEvents, allows the program to finish drawing the dice on the picture box. Next, I pause for 100 microseconds. A microsecond is 1/1000th of a second. 100 divided by 1000 is 0.1, so this will pause 0.1 of a second before looping. It'll make the code run like this. That way it looks like the dice are tumbling. If I want to make this look more like a slot machine, I would make the following change. The second for loop only changes the second die's face. Therefore, it will look like this. When I press the button, both dies change. The first one locks in place, and the second one continues to tumble, and then it locks in place. This is a lot like a slot machine, where the slots all spin. The first one stops, then the second one stops, then the third one stops, and so on. So you can mimic this behavior with the for loops. Lastly, you can start to add rules. The rules would be after the 2 rolls. We know which image is on the screen because we still have int num1 and int num2 at our disposal. This rule states that if the 2 die faces match, we'll play an audio file. We're also going to use wait to complete. I did this so the music could complete before the person presses the button again. Let's run this program until we get a matching set of dice. As I press the button now, nothing happens. That's because I have wait to complete. Given this information, you could easily write a slot machine program if you wanted to. I hope this program has helped you learn how to embed objects and use sound effects and images. In review, images, sounds, and other items need to be embedded into the project. If you don't embed them, there will be broken links when you move the program to different computers. The procedure to embed a resource is shown below. A picture box holds an image on the form. You can change how the image is displayed using the SizeMode property. The different values that can be assigned to SizeMode and a description of what they do is shown below. Changing the image on a picture box is just as easy as changing the text on a text box. The sound player plays WAV files and not MP3 files. The sound command needs two values, the name of the sound file and the audio play mode property. The audio play mode properties are shown below. The command to play and stop a WAV file is shown below. This program updated both die faces 5 times and the second die face another 5 times. This was done to give the appearance that the dice were tumbling. To achieve this effect, the code was put inside of a loop and 2 extra lines were added. The first command is shown below. It allows the program to finish drawing the images to the picture box before continuing. Then, a small delay was inserted to give the user some time to see the rotating face. This was done with the command shown below. The delay in the command is in milliseconds. If you find these videos useful, please like and subscribe. It is the only way I can continue to make these videos.